Hi, this is Rod Santo Massimo, and welcome to The Massimo Show. The objective of The Massimo Show is to share how you can maximize your personal, professional margin. That's right. Let's make more money in less time. Let's turn chaos into clarity, confusion into confidence, and income into real wealth. Along with sharing my insight on how I grew a multi-million-dollar professional business, we're going to bring you the expert advice from a variety of authors, consultants, and thought leaders who will provide the tools you need to maximize your own personal and professional margin. Welcome to The Massimo Show. Hey everyone, this is Rod Santomassimo with The Massimo Show, and what a special wild guest we have for you today, Mr. Michael McCormick. Now, somebody may say, who the hell is Michael McCormick? And I'll tell you, I said that too when I first met him, and then I was so blown away, and I'll get to the story, that I was driving away. I turned my car around just to refine this gentleman and again get to meet him. So, Michael, thank you so much for joining us on The Massimo Show.
I appreciate it, Rod, and I'm going to level with you. I look in the mirror every single morning, and I ask myself, who is Mike McCormick as well? So you're not the only one.
Well, let me share with my guest how we met. I was attending Gary Vaynerchuk's Agent 2021 or 2020, how it was, back in January, a year ago. And I had just come from the Gary Vaynerchuk 4Ds day the day before, a whole day with Gary and his team. This was a much bigger conference, 1,000 plus people in Miami, special breakout sessions. And there's a breakout session on insurance and community and social media. And I always learn, don't stick to your niche, find other people and other experts. And there was Michael, and I'm not sure if your partner was there or not, but you were sharing with the audience how you built your Facebook community to over 20, at the time, over 20,000 people. And I was so blown away. I said, you know what, this is a guy I just want to say hi to. In fact, I did as soon as you got off stage. And then later on, I said hi to you, and you told me, hey, Rod, you may want to check out our podcast. So what I did was to, hey, Mike, whatever, I'll do that. So I got in the car, I was driving back home, put on your podcast, and the first thing I hear you said was that you were from Stony Brook, Long Island in New York, which I was born and raised in Stony Brook. So I was kind of like that guy, what do they call that when someone pursues someone, probably they shouldn't be, what's that called? Is that... hounding? It was, so I get the right word. I'll think the right in a second. I turn my car around. I find him in the crowd. I say, hey, Michael, I got to tell you, I'm from Stony Brook, New York. We've got to get together. And it's been a long time because he's so super busy, but that's how I met Michael. Michael, do you remember me hounding you?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I didn't view it as hounding. I didn't take it as hounding by any stretch of the imagination. And I also didn't know up until literally right now, the part of the story where you had left and actually turned around and come back. So thank you. That's flattering and pretty cool. So thank you.
Well, tell my audience why it's blown away. I mean, just think about it, based on what you do in your specialty, no matter what it may be, commercial real estate, insurance, well, I don't care what it is. If you can gain a community, an engaged community of 20,000 plus, you got to be doing something really off the charts special. So Michael, before we get there, I want to ask you, where did it all start? So where was Michael McCormick in an entrepreneurial sense? Take it back to where you lived in your 12 to 16 year age before you hit high school. What were you doing?
I was a Catholic school boy, born and raised, 12 to 16. May not be a name that your audience is familiar with, but one that you as a Long Islander is definitely familiar with. I was roaming the halls of Chaminade High School in Mineola, boy Catholic high school. And I was doing the Catholic high school thing. I was a lot of pranks, a lot of joking, a lot of doing the bare minimum, but still managing to do well, that type of thing. So, a lot changed over the years. I went from someone who was lucky and fortunate to excel without having to put much effort into things to a college career where you don't attend class, yet memorize everything the teacher's saying, so you don't do so well there. Struggled a little bit through college, came out the other side okay. And from there, I had a couple of careers before moving into the entrepreneurial world, came out in the mortgage world actually. Did very, very well in mortgages for someone my age, 6 figures plus from, age 22 to 27. Last couple of years, real nice, 6 figures. And from there, when everything was starting to hit the proverbial fan, my girlfriend, now my wife, was kind of in my ear saying, if everything's hitting the fan, not sure you want to be there for it, and convinced me to move into another career, moved into banking, and took a significant pay cut, Had to basically be a corporate guy for the first time in my life, which was not really my MO, still isn't my MO, and was in banking as a manager in banking, and then ultimately moved into private banking. Had a boss that gave me literal agita whenever he would show up to my office. He always stopped by unannounced, just a real son of a gun. And not knowing what kind of language I can use in this podcast. I don't know where I can go with my language. I'm generally not one to filter myself, but I was trying to be respectful of your audience here. But ultimately, I had a terrible boss that was driving me absolutely nuts. I was performing at a high level, and he was still riding me like a show pony. And I got to the point where I started putting my resume out there, and I got a lot of hits from insurance because I was licensed in insurance. I had a background that kind of jived with it and whatever. And ultimately, I was contacted by one of the larger carriers out there who invited me to open an agency, and I opened an agency. It wasn't as promised. You know, here on Long Island, they are not really allowing all that homeowners insurance to be written. And when you are a captive insurance agent, only allowed to write through one company, and they take one of your core products off the table, it makes for a tough chance to grow. And it wasn't something that was shared with me until after I opened my doors. So long story short, I weathered that storm for a number of years and wound up kind of butting heads with the carrier a little bit. They have a very particular way of wanting things done. I have a very different way of getting things done. And between not owning my book of business, not having the ability to sell one of the core products, and button heads over some of the marketing that I wanted to do versus what they wanted me to do, I ultimately decided to take my ball and go home. And it was right around that time that insurance soup was kind of getting off the ground.
Let me stop you there because there's a lot to unpack. You have this subconscious content and you have this high energy, which comes right through, I got to tell you, which is awesome. So your background was generally, again, I understand the high school, Chaminade, of course, high school, college. It's this energy you had. You went to mortgage, really entrepreneurial in nature, it is. And then you went to banking, which total corporate crap happened all day long. Then you realized maybe insurance, based on your skill set, your licensing, insurance could be for you, but still you were capped from a product standpoint and structure standpoint.
What's funny about it too, Rod, is I'd always wanted to do something entrepreneurial. I always wanted to be a business owner. At the various stages of my life where it was a potential consideration, being completely honest, I just didn't have the cojones to take that leap. You know, I didn't have a real vision. I didn't have a real idea. And when the opportunity to open an agency popped up, it was kind of like, eureka, here is a business in a box that fits my skill set. It wasn't like a true passion or a true love or anything like that. It was the ability to pursue the entrepreneurial lifestyle that got me excited, as opposed to the actual opportunity itself. And here we are.
Okay, so did Michael, based on your parents, friends, people you saw, what was the allure of entrepreneurialism and what did you think it was? I mean, being self-employment? I mean, what do you think that meant?
I don't know that I really thought too hard about what it meant at the time. I was more concerned with two things than anything else. I was concerned with having and maintaining freedom over my time in life and not having to answer to anybody. Those were my two main things. Like, you know, like I was actually just having a conversation with someone a couple of days ago about this. And, you know, I had mentioned that even if I was just scraping by as an entrepreneur, it would absolutely still be 100% worth the freedom and not having to answer to somebody.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Amen to that.
Although my wife will tell you differently. I answer to somebody, right?
You know, I don't know what's more stressful, the entrepreneur or the spouse of the entrepreneur. It's really a hard one.
They're on a worse roller coaster because they have no idea what's going on. They're just dealing with the moods, you know?
Great point. Great point. So this concept of insurance soup, what was it? How did it come about? Give me the genesis of insurance soup.
Yeah, sure. It was a dark and stormy night in December of 2015. So, and that's the truth. It was actually December of 2015. We're coming up on our 4-year anniversary of the group, of the company and all that kind of stuff, actually on the 28th of this month. So we're coming up on 4 years. But I was friends with a couple of insurance agents from around the country that I had met online, different carriers, totally different areas. I got a partner down in Texas. I got a partner out in South Dakota that were nothing more than just acquaintances at the time. And we were fairly vocal online as I still am today, obviously a lot more today, but you know, we were getting the attention of some insurance agents. We didn't have a group or anything like that. We didn't have a goal. We didn't have any kind of intention. We were just, active and vocal on social media. And then pretty much it was like a perfect storm. Within like a 30, 45-day period, all three of us had gotten like a nice kick in the pants that didn't jive well with us, from one of us from a vendor, one of us from a carrier, and one of us from a marketer. And the three of us just got together one night and had a conversation. And at the time on social media in the insurance space, particularly on Facebook, there were all these groups that existed, but they were very niche specific. So you had all your State Farm agents in one group, you had all your Allstate agents in another group, all your farmers agents, all your independent agents, and everyone was in their own silo. And my partners and I, we were getting to know each other and real friendly and whatnot. And, we started exchanging ideas and strategies and all that kind of stuff. We're in different parts of the country. We represent different carriers. There's literally no competition whatsoever. And we started to realize, as we started to show our cards to one another, that each one of us were utilizing different tools and vendors and strategies that the other ones had no idea even existed, because each one of our companies were keeping us in these individual Kool-Aid cultures. So, we were all drinking Kool-Aid. It was just different flavors of it. And
Right.
None of us had any idea what else was out there. And we decided on that fateful night, December 28th, 2015, that we wanted to selfishly at the time begin a community where we could get everybody from every carrier, every level of experience, every line of business, all in one place to talk openly about the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between in the industry. And, what started off as kind of like a little bit of a selfish, let's see what we can learn from people opportunity, blew up into what we've been very fortunate to, have today, which is a borderline industry phenomenon. So,
Okay. Well, Michael, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, everyone, so the genesis of Insurance Soup, you're all wondering, what the heck is it? We're going to learn what it is, what it's become, and more importantly, how it became what it's become and where it's going. When we come back for the second part with this amazing dynamic guest, Mr. Michael McCormick. So hang on. He was sharing with us his entrepreneurial genesis, his origin, the different things he was doing. And then this idea, this perfect storm that came about to create this thing called Insurance Soup. So now we got to talk about, what is Insurance Soup? How did it become what it is? Where is it going? And I'm telling you, this is going to blow you away. Get out your pens. I don't know what you're doing, but pay attention now, because here comes the How We Make Soup with Mr. Michael McCormick. Michael, welcome back to the Massimo Show. You got us all excited. We want to hear what this soup is. Concept, bring all these folks together, no matter where they are, and create a platform or community, best word, community, for sharing ideas, best practices, and helping each other out. Great in theory, Michael. I mean, it's three guys over a drink saying, we should do this. It's different to make it happen, though. So how do you go from concept to actually making it happen?
Yeah, that fateful night back in December of 2015, when we decided to do this, obviously we didn't know how it was going to go. And what's funny about it is, when we first had the initial conversation, in a moment of looking back on it, we had said to each other, imagine if we got this thing to like 5,000 people in like the next 6 or 7 years. Wouldn't that be absolutely incredible? And so we went to our friends list to see how many insurance agents we were actually, collectively all connected to. And we were connected to about 600 agents. So and I don't recommend this now, if you're a Facebook marketer or you're an aspiring marketer, don't do this. It's in bad taste, but luckily 4 years ago, it wasn't as frowned upon or whatever. We added them all into the group without even asking the permission. We just threw them all in the group, and they all knew us. It wasn't blind. There were people that we had relationships with, but we literally took every insurance agent we knew and brought them all into the group, and basically explained what we wanted to do, that we were putting this community together as a resource for the industry that the carriers could not stand in the way of, where we would be able to hear the good, the bad, the ugly. We would be able to learn what the compensation structures look like from carrier to carrier, who's offering what product, where you can go to get the right types of things to fill the holes that may be presenting themselves in your business. And the first 4 or 5 months that we were building the group and adding members and having people invite more people to join and whatnot, there was absolutely no intention whatsoever to monetize at all. It was plain and simply, let's get everybody here so we can talk about what's going on in the industry.
Okay, let me stop you there, because I got to share a quick story. I was at a LinkedIn conference, and they said, you should have your own group. And I was like, what the hell is that about? So I actually started my own group. And the next day I woke up and I had 200 people in the group. And my wife said to me, oh my God, how much money are we making now? That's not how it works, honey.
Zero.
You're making zero. So did you have the objective yet to monetize this at the time?
There was no goal to monetize right out the gates. It was plain and simply us looking for an opportunity to kind of glom knowledge from other people. Let's get everybody in here and talking about what they're using, what's good, what have you been burned by in the past, what carriers are good for what. And over time, we realized that certain topics were continuing to come up. And one of the topics that was coming up relatively frequently was this desire by a lot of agents to be able to generate their own leads on social media. And that was an area that personally, me and one of my other business partners, that's our bread and butter. That's what we really excel at. That's what we're good at. That's what we love. And ultimately, we wound up bringing a course to the marketplace that became very, very popular very quick. We were very fortunate to have, a client base that was able to take our education and do some cool stuff with it that became cheerleaders essentially. And from there, we just started to expand upon our offerings based on what the audience was telling us they needed. We had a lot of people saying that they were struggling to communicate effectively with their prospects, with their database. And we had a tool that we were using that was absolutely fantastic. We contacted the vendor and let them know about this audience we were creating. We were able to strike an equity deal. And from there, we've just kind of started to add pieces to this puzzle where we have been essentially just answering the cries of the audience, basically trying to fill the prescriptions that'll alleviate the pain that the audience continues to bring up over and over and over again. And at this point, we are 7 companies deep. Every single one of them works with insurance agents in one form or fashion. We teach marketing. We've got a communication automation tool. We've got a model of business that provides opportunity in a very different way than a typical agent is used to being out there in the field. We've got a life insurance technology that allows for real easy application submissions. We've got an industry-wide classified board. We've got a continuing education company where we provide CE. And then Insurance Soup, and we've got a promotional item site on the way. What's happened is, we went from being our slogan, motto, whatever you want to call it in the beginning, was a melting pot of great ideas, which is what the original goal and mission and still is today. But what we've kind of evolved to over time, what our ultimate goal is at this point is we're still looking to be a resource for the insurance industry and all that kind of stuff. But what we're really trying to evolve to right now is to essentially become the Amazon of the insurance industry, where, if you're looking for something, you're going to find it here. And when I say that, I don't mean that like any Tom, Dick, or Harry that's got an offer or a product or a service is going to be able to offer through Insurance Soup. Not the case. We've actually turned down over 50 different opportunities from various vendors and people that want us to offer services and for us to be their mascot and all that kind of stuff. But what we're building towards is any kind of problem that an agent has in their business, being able to not only offer an opinion on it, but to be able to offer a solution, and a solution that is one of, if not the absolute best that the industry has to offer.
Michael, that is mind-blowing. From a vision to actualization to a growing community. Unbelievable stuff. Now, folks, on the next episode of The Massimo Show, we will continue my conversation with Mike McCormick. You want to check out that episode because we will get into just what amazing reach and, yes, market share the Insurance Soup has gotten to, and how strict they are with their membership. How Mike has been using social media successfully, and even a glimpse into what the future holds for Insurance Soup. You can find out more about Insurance Soup at theinsurancesoup.com. And to find out more about Mike himself, check out his personal Facebook page. Well, until next time, this is Rod Santamassimo with The Massimo Show. I want to thank you for listening to this version of The Massimo Show. And please, please go out and share this with your friends, your colleagues. Heck, share it with your dog. Just share it. And more importantly, just give me some feedback, good, bad, or indifferent,